It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of it. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent His messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose, but by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque, then in the same church, in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look to our soul, we see nothing but the star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Witamy wszystkich na 137 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj mamy wtorek, 13 marca 2018 roku. Gospodarzami programu są Jarek, Kuba, Paweł, Przemek i Marcin. Naszym nauczycielem standardowo jest dr Keshe. A dzisiejsze spotkanie będzie dotyczyło tutaj prezentacji, tłumaczenia oraz dyskusji dotyczącej trzeciej części 213 warsztatu poszukiwaczy wiedzy. Także, żeby nie przedłużać, zapraszamy serdecznie tutaj do aktywnego udziału. Jarku, jeżeli mogę Cię prosić o podzielenie ekranu z wideo, byłoby super. Także dzięki.
No, dziękuję Marcin. Już udostępniam.
Resonance. Well, that's the thing is there resonance? What is resonance then?
Resonance,
For example, think of music. We think that some music is harmonious and makes us feel better. Other music might be disharmonious and sometimes deliberately so, but we can tell when something is off key or are
It's
harsh.
asking to you, but it makes sense to another one, huh?
Well, it may in some dimensions, yes.
It does.
True.
Why some of us can listen to symphonic orchestras and the other ones run away from it like crazy? How many of you have
Well,
bought it? You
there,
can, I'm going to listen to, what do you call it, opera.
mm-hmm. Well, there's
Okay,
a great example of the Chinese opera. In fact, if you're in China listening to Chinese opera, it's very nice. You like it. But to others, might feel that it's harsh and that it reminds them too much of their homeland. So if you were an invader of China, you would be in there and reminded of your homeland and want to leave naturally. And so it's a way of that they developed to fend off invaders in a way at a certain point,
Yeah, but,
to make sad music, and it made them think of their homeland, and away they go. It's a very, and if it makes the local people think of their homeland, it just makes them more loyal than they already were.
speak to Rui. Portuguese have a special song, literally makes you to cry. There's special music, Portuguese music, if I'm correct, that is so depressing, but it's so smoothing because I accept all the dimension of my souls. And it's very famous with the Portuguese. And they do, it's very funny how we associate noises and the sounds with our emotion. I was in Greece once for business, and we were taken to a night for a dinner where they throw plates at people. They wouldn't throw any more plates because it was endangering the singer or whatever. They were throwing flowers, dry flowers, and then it was you could throw roses and you paid more for it. It was just a business. But what was interesting is that I noticed all the women were black. And I said to the lady who was with us, I said, excuse me, why do you wear all black? Oh, shows grace and being pure and being respectful. I said, I don't see any white, I don't see any color, you're all black. Says this way it actually speaks about the problems of our emotion in what we want to say, but we can't redress it. And why do we do this? Because we want to pass a message on. This is the strength of our emotion. Queen Victoria did. She wore black all her life. She fell in love later in her life with another man. In a very old stage, very old ages of it. And it was kept from the view, and it was known. I heard about it some 20, 30 years ago. Within the royal family, there was such a thing. And now it's been a public, partially. Now go and watch how a queen falls in love, hears the voice of love. They called Victoria, not Abdullah. They found the diary of Abdullah, who Queen Victoria fell in love with. He was a Muslim, and she was the head of the Church of England. Just watch the movie. It's a beautiful explanation that our heart can fall in love and receive the wave that tunes with our physicality anytime. She even learned Urdu. At late age, in her very late age, she fell in love with a young boy. And then everything he said, it was a music to her ear, because the love was more important than anything else. And what is interesting, when you watch this movie, watch something very interesting. A queen accepts a lover, because it's hidden in the show, in the movie, which if you just watch it as a movie, you don't grasp it, but watch it in the sequential, how women accept subordination, even a queen. When she says to him that, he says, I need to go back to where I came from because I have a wife. And you see the breakdown, you have a wife. Because she thought she found love to herself. And then he says, okay, because if he goes, he loses him. He says, go and bring the wife. Now at least I've got you with me, I accept another woman in the house, in the palace of England. Watch it. This, when I was told this years ago in the circle I used to work, some 1980s, I thought this was a joke they talk, but now they have found the diary of the guy in the past 5 to 10 years. They made a movie about it. And watch it. How much we compromise for what we call to confirm that we can give. And then look at it on the condition of the soul. I watched this movie and it's amazing what you can learn. Even the queens, the most powerful people, fall in love. And they give everything for it. And they accept every condition for it. The slavery to the emotion of man. Giving has no dimension and has no position. And once we learn we can give, and it gets accepted, we give everything for it. In some religions they call it the martyr. They say, if Queen Victoria would have stayed another 2-3 years alive, she would have denounced the Church of England and would have become a Muslim nation. She went that far falling in love with this man. She heard the voice, the noise of love. Watch it, maybe once as a movie, but watch it the second time in the interaction of the soul and behavior of it. It's made a movie, but it's from the script they found as a manual script of the man who the Queen fell in love with. Then you have Berlusconi as well. You've seen it. You can always fall in love with a young man. Anyway, it's not just exclusive young men. Or a women.
Well, Mr. Keshe, we have several people with their hands up here. Are you open to some more questions?
I have a very bad cold. I try to. I'm really working hard to stay on.
Right.
I
Okay,
sat
well,
in the airport with a cool air on my back and I catch the cold.
oh yes, that's classic situation. It seems maybe you need a warm.
On the air conditioning and walking on the air conditioning into the heat.
Yes. Perhaps Estella, you had your hand up and asked if you could ask a question. Let's see what you have to say and to see if Mr. Keshe can hang in for it. Let me allow you to talk. There you go.
Hello?
Yes, hi
Good
Estella.
morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. My question is regarding the plasma. During the classes, we express the plasma as in plan, like a two-dimensional expression is like a circle, a concentric rings of circles. From the center out, we express the field strength, being the strongest in the center and then weaker as you going out. In terms of the plasma and sound, and would it be the correct way to understand that the music or the sound, it will go like a wave in three-dimensional where it goes up and down from the center out and it will have a shape like a flame or something like that in terms of how sound gets expressed in three-dimensional?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm not a sound specialist, but it's very interesting. If you stand in in a position, it's very strange you can do it. A lot of people don't know they have this power. And you'll decide that I want people to look at me, or I want to look at somebody in any direction and they find out I'm watching them. Even if they're back to them, they turn around and they look. I do that frequently to see how far I can cover the strength of my field. Sometimes I do it 20 meters, 100 meters. And sometimes you watch to see how much you can influence. We can do it, but it's not directional. You can turn in any direction and get everybody looking at you. Or you see everybody that they turn around back and look at you, or all look at something, a point that you created an image of interaction. These are the things we have to learn. But coming from the way I come, these are part of the play.
Right.
So it's, I draw it like this because it's the easier way than drawing circle and circle and circles. But the fields penetrate equally from the center. The understanding of the plasma is very simple. Plasma has a heartbeat, where in the outer boundaries, the fields of the position of the interaction with the matter state have to balance off each other. And in balancing what comes and what goes out, creates a heartbeat which pulls equally but in a wavy shape from the center out the field. This is how you trigger a plasma to release its energy. I do that quite well, especially when we used to make dynamic reactors with fire extinguishers, detectors. You can do that because then you can localize where you want to increase or decrease the plasma, which is exactly like brain of the man.
So, if for example, so if I direct with an intention my plasma field, and I'm like a little, let's say 360.
You are very big. Your
Yeah.
field extends to the boundary of the universe. Why do you think you're little?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Because nobody told you, because then they can control you. There is no difference between the soul of the man and the sun. If you can see a sun from the edges of the universe, as they tell us, so you can see the soul of the man.
Interesting.
It's the truth. It's us who've been denied. We are feeble, we are weak, then they can abuse us. That's why we create gods and prophets that we can cling on, or we make what you call statues, because we see ourselves as weak, but we are as strong as the sun in the depth of the universe. Why do you think people come and look for you and they fall in love with you, or they come and kick you out of nowhere? Because you radiate, you create that condition. I was sitting very recently somewhere, and the guy says to me, "Oh, I come from such a little village." I said, "Oh, I know your village. I used to live near your village." He said, "Such a little village, you've been there?" I said, that's part of a very big city, huh? I used to work near you." And then he was very shocked that his little village, somebody has been there. I said, "It's you who decides you're part of, why didn't you say I'm from a bigger place like this?" Because we have always underestimated the power of our soul, because that way they could control us. You don't understand. You don't understand. If you understand what we don't understand, we understand more than they do.
Well, that's the key element of value, that we are so underestimated our value of existence. If each other we cooperate, we can work together, right?
Value doesn't exist, it's us who put on it. When you're equal, yes, you have become the judge of yourself. We don't need to judge anything. This is strange how we use a vocabulary to confirm the suppression and what I call supervision and abuse which is enforced on us. We confirm continuously. I listen to many people ask this and that, but it's very simple. It says, I accepted this limit of suppression and blah blah and blah blah. The priest said I cannot do that. The priest said, or the mullah said, or my teacher said, I cannot do that, but the teacher does it himself. It's one of these ridiculous things which I hear, we hear nowadays in American schools. They want to put gun in the hand of the teachers. Can you imagine how many children aggravate the teachers, especially if you're in an English school, and the teacher just, now is one guy, every few months goes and kills a few. Every day there will be massacre in the schools, the way they tease the teachers and they teach, they force them. You put guns in the hand of the teachers and put them in the English structure, half of the classroom will be dead every day. Or they obey out of getting shot by fear. When you look at this talk about teachers carrying gun in the classroom, God forbid. What is next when the guy loses his temper, or he is a same capability as a guy becoming a, what do you call it, crazy as he is. And if he doesn't like it, student, he just pulls a gun out. It's the freedom. I use my First Amendment and the second and the third one. But I said, why do we even allow a gun to be manufactured, let alone allowing the suppression of it? We accept terms.
But
Sorry, carry on.
the truth is, guns don't kill, emotions kill. It's almost like we need to reeducate everything to like know, you know, there is no need to go and get a gun if your emotions and your things are in a proper way.
Yes, exactly what it is. It's very strange. It is extremely strange if I tell you my view about a lot of things which are happening. It's not the guns they sell, it's the bank accounts which kill people.
Yeah, so I wouldn't ban guns, I would ban bad violence and emotions there.
I will ban the politicians and the guy who manufactures them. Go further up the ladder and then you'll understand. But they create a bogus enemy, and you have to create that bogus enemy to have it to do what you like to do. I was a young boy and I saw the violence in American blood, and it just brought a lot of things home with me. We used to have tenants coming back. There was a families, they didn't know where to put them. They were losing Vietnam War and they were shoving them all out into Iran. And then we had to pay the animals who were coming from Vietnam, coming with guns. They literally packed all their guns in and they put them on the helicopters, whatever, with their families. They dumped them in Iran, and we had to pay them double wages because they're in a violent nation. The animals who came as animals, now they're in the violent, we had to pay double. As they were getting paid 1,000, Iranian government to pay another 1,000 to keep these violent people in. And what they did, across the house, my father used to let these houses to them, because it was a European standard 50 years ago. They wanted there to be there. A boy of 10, 11 shot a neighbor through the kitchen while she was washing dishes. And it shocked me. I said, because the lady was a friend of ours. And the justification was, we are in a violent country, we can do whatever we like. And we need the gun to protect ourselves. Do you know what was the sequence of it? As you know, the Muslims have a time, that in a year, but that time was a freedom they could do, beat themselves and whatever they do for the murder of or martyrdom of one of their what you call religious grandsons of the Prophet. And these American guys came and understand what they are doing. What are they doing? They were interested now to understand. They pulled them in and they showed them the real violence. No American ever put a foot on the street again. Because they showed violence can be responded very violently back. And then that was, we were not there. The shooting of a young woman in the kitchen was not violence. But getting beaten up for what you've done was violence. We have to learn, and then we can control our emotions.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. You know, one of the things which we go back to the establishment of Universal Council and Earth Council, now that it's fully established. If you thought that you established the council and that's it, you are far from reality. Your job has started. You sign yourself into work of peace from today. In the coming days, I told Caroline, let you sign it, let you confirm to it. Now that you published it, every single member of the council has signed to it themselves, the way it was done by the Earth Council. And then your work starts. You become the ambassadors of peace, and it's your job in your language in every corner of this planet to start promoting peace. Do not renounce violence, because don't waste your energy to fight, because in time it will change. And as you gather the souls of your language in being united, you will see changes. The changes will come. This is why we lost the English and the French member of the councils. Because we cannot progress till we get everybody listening in the direction that those who were in charge and responsible for so much violence for centuries are not there to influence the other souls. It's the job of the rest of the members of the councils to guide those, and anyway adapt the English and the French speaking members of the council till a soul appears that he can serve the soul of these people. And your work starts from now. It's your job to sit down as a Earth Councils. You had enough discussions about how to write the words, now have to implement what you've written. The poor Spanish man in Africa to the rich Spanish man in Spain and America have to become aware of each other's condition. Because it's not black anymore, it's Spanish. It's not French anymore in one place. It's not a black, we all speak French and we all speak Dutch, we all speak whatever languages. The time starts. Your responsibility starts from today. Understanding, if you haven't managed to understand the strength of your soul, to gather strength from other members of the council to promote peace. Your job has started. Sorry to leave it so late to tell you, but in a way that's what you committed yourself. You talked about it, now you have to do it. And those of the Keshe Foundation supporters who follow any language, it's your responsibility to increase the forces for peace. No marching. March the souls, understand the strength of your souls, reach it out. As I said, I start to see how far my soul goes. Now you have received the position of Universal Council. See if you can reach the soul of the man who speaks Spanish in the South Pole or the North Pole as a researcher, to the poor man who speaks Spanish in the village in Spain, or the one who speaks Spanish in Mexico. It's your responsibility. And you have to work collectively to create a condition for peace that us can open the doors much wider to universal community that we see this mayhem of present time finishes. In the next few weeks you will see changes. Huge changes. We are getting there. We just need just a few more bits. And we create condition of peace. We're just on the verge of it. Because now the wish of the man, a few of you as members of the council, members of followers of the Keshe Foundation, will start reaching, receiving the energy of peace from those of the universal community. We needed the link to be able to receive it. And now it's established. It's very much as I said, you put your hand out, you have put your hand out to give out all the, what they call animosity and war in this planet, that it goes nowhere because there is no receiver for it in the universe. But as you create a condition, you receive the condition for peace. As I told you, I'm a very good master. I'll let you walk into it. And now you all have walked into it. You walked into peace. And you must be proud in what you have achieved and you're doing. And one point, no one needs to be higher than the other. It's your job. If you think you can write the world leaders, write to them, and at the same time, use your soul. They have a soul. You have to start a peace process that we can push another side. Supporting peace and peace process through the Universal Council and with the support of the Earth Council is the process that starts from today. You sign yourself into it, now you have to start acting on it. No more, I'm just a member of the council. If you cannot feel you can support peace, equality of all races, oneness of one nation, move out. Leave for those who have enough to give, or bring those of your language to give together. Giving free energy units does not create peace, it creates mayhem. But if you can change the soul of the man with the energy you carry, which now you received as a members of the Universal Council with everybody else around it, it's time to start working for peace. You have to do it, you have no choice. The music of peace sounds so good. And the fruit of peace is much better.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
Może chwilę przerwy zrobimy. No tu dużo było powiedziane o tym dawaniu i o dawaniu i o jakby nauczaniu o tym pokoju na świecie. Nie wiem, ktoś może by chciał rozwinąć, zabrać głos w dyskusji. Czy może jakieś pytania są? Jeśli nie ma, no to będziemy kontynuować dalej.
I don't have a big question, but it's only a small question. I would like to thank you to open up the Universe Council for us. And I have so many questions on that, but you already answered it. If I go run for it or walking in it, but I am as a gentleman, I will leave the door for Jamila, and I will say ladies first. I will be behind her if something happens. So I will support her in back.
We back each other. We have to do it. We have no choice. Those who have abused, have run a rampage for thousands of years. It's time for men of wisdom to move in. Enough is enough. Peace.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
I wanna share a testimony where I was in a situation where it was kind of difficult, but because I keep my emotional body in peace and center like a vertical wave, and I was able to walk out like in peace, safe, and and then when that happened, I look back and I thought, oh my God, I can change the reality.
Yes, but the thing is, you change yourself in understanding you are more in charge, you have more power to do it.
Right, but I stay in peace.
Of course,
and
we react.
And the vibration of the situation didn't took me, but that's what I'm saying. If like that communication of the soul to bring the peace.
Yes, you see, let me explain to you something. A lot of people don't know, but I've explained this a couple of times before in different part of teaching. I had a brain hemorrhage, a stroke, at the age of 40 on a plane, for whatever reason. Actually, air hostesses watched me going through a brain hemorrhage, and the consequence of having a stroke at a young age is if you're very young, it happens in the bottom of your brain and you get paralysis and all sorts of things. In a middle age, which is very rare at certain ages, 50s on we get it, 40s on we get it, but around 30s, late 30s is very unusual. It still happens. And one of the side effects of this is your brain goes through a motion of not having enough time, because it's subconscious, you don't see it. So you don't have time for the others to speak, and you speak before they do, because this time if the stroke comes, at least I have said my piece. And then this creates a condition that annoys a lot of people, and it needs a lot of self-control to do it. And it creates mayhem. But what creates mayhem with is, because we know we are not aware of it, and if you have a youngsters are amongst you, you see everything as a stupid because they're wasting their time. They don't know they can, like me, have a stroke and everything can finish. And then you battle a life two ways and nobody understands. Nobody understands stroke at the middle age, because you have a crisis in two ways. When you find out, you can walk away from it. You can create a lot of controls for it. It creates mayhem in the life, because you stand out and say, this is not me, what is happening? But in so many ways, the physical emotion takes over the fears of the soul. Of what about, if not, I'm not finished yet, I still have a lot to do. And it becomes overreaction. If you hear many times, especially when Rika speaks, I jump in, it's not something which you do deliberately. It's a consequence of a stroke. what they call premature stroke. And sometimes I'm learning more and more to stop, to be able to let people finish. I have all the time I achieved what I came here for to achieve. And if you listen to sometimes the teachings, you hear it, I jump in. It's not to be unpolite, it's just, if you read the history of a stroke, is that way. And you find a way to walk away out of it. And it creates a mayhem in life. The people see that, you know, how come you get so angry out of nowhere? Because you have to be all the time on top of it to understand this is a consequence of a stroke. Fear of not having enough time to achieve what you came here for. And then when you achieve it gradually in life, you change. You become more and more aware of it. In the way you see, you watch it, that this is not me, but it's happening. It creates mayhem. And in that process, you learn a lot about what different condition creates. It's amazing what it does to you. And in so many ways, they never teach you. But if you have a confidence of the soul, you can walk away from these things. And gradually, it takes a lot of self-control, and in a way of understanding your soul is more powerful than your physicality, your soul of physicality, and in a way working through the soul, not through the physical life. It's mayhem for people who go through a stroke at a young age. And as you said, you walk tall. Oh, this time I managed to control it. And it's there. It's not that you want to interfere. It's the condition that we have to learn. It's a challenge that we have to learn to be aware of our own conduct. And that awareness brings a lot of wisdom.
So that's a key element for us to really start to get the fluid communication with the field, get back our field strength in this matter state, is that communication and have a different interaction with the environment, because the environment is always stimulating in a way, so you're not at that peace level to be able to maintain
In a way, why do we get stressed or angry? It's when the physical life does not match. The physicality does not match the dimension of life in different dimensions. When the strength of the soul does not translate itself to the strength of the soul of physicality and the physicality itself. Have you ever stood and say, what makes me angry? And what are the conditions of anger?
Yes.
Is it true when the physical condition of physical soul of physicality does not meet the strength of the soul, which is kind and equal, and you want to transfer it? It's a lot of wisdom. But I said to Caroline always, and I've said it before, we come to this planet to understand, to change, but you go at the same time through the physicality of the totality. You are subject to everything else which the physical life was, and what you learn from it, that then you can put it right, which counts, otherwise you become another one. In so many ways, being aware of the reality of life is very, very important. We can fool anybody, but we cannot fool ourselves. But once we understand why we get ourselves in these situations and analyze it, it takes 10 years, 20 years, you're not aware of it, till something hits you somewhere and everybody tells you whatever, and you say, I didn't know I walked this way. I've seen many people say, why do you do that? I said, I never knew. I take your video and I show them, says, why do I do this? I used to do this with a lot of people. A very good indication of the emotion of the man is the hand of the man. And one of the first thing I used to do with people who used to come and ask for help or whatever is I asked them to stand in front of me and just open their hands. And the way you open your hand and you see which finger is straightened, which hand is the palm of the hand bent in, your hands are half bent in, your thumb is facing inwards, is it straight or is it bending backwards, will give a lot of insight into the soul of the man and what soul gives and what the physicality through emotion absorbs. The soul of the man is the palm of the man. It's equal. It gives the energy. What comes to the palm and then it distributes itself. And then, sorry, I keep on shutting the thing up because I have to cough. And then you open. Then the fingers shows the total emotion of the man. It's what radiates from your soul. Is which finger, each finger in your hand has a strength in certain dimensions for part of your body. People suddenly push their hands open or suddenly push their thumbs out. Doesn't count. Just open your hand and then you can say everything about the man. Remember I told you about the mint where each tip is receiving and absorbing? So is the body of the man. Our finger it shows what we are giving, what we are taking. And how much we give. You see your thumb is the shortest. If your thumb bends backwards and when you open it up, it means it's a giver and it gives us a very high level. With the shape of the thumb, you can tell who is what. And you see people who the thumb bends in, it means they need to hold on to. You see the last finger, the small finger bent in, you understand there is no security. Because it's the weakest and short compared to the others, so it just gives the weakest which is left over inside the palm. Looking at the palm of, if you look, I told you, even Caroline, one of her teachings in Valletta, tried to explain, but she didn't understand what she's doing, but now you're mature, you can understand. When you put your hands together, you bring the energy of your soul together, soul of physicality. And when you radiate from your soul into this gap, it's the friction between the sun and the earth, and the friction creates light. And people say, oh, I can create light in between my hands. And if you can't understand why, see how the fingers position each other when you put it in. Understand the magnetic field in the northern equator and southern equator. How do they come into creating? Your top hand becomes the north. Trust that flexibility turn a little bit towards the other gives us the flexibility that created us, but because of this planet being twisted, we done that even before we knew it, but the soul is aware of the position. Creation of 4 seasons allow us to be angry, stressed, happy and joyful and everything else. When you rub your hands, as we said, the noise makes, you listen how people rub their hand, how people clap, the noises they make. Some of you clap with the flat of the hand, some of them clap with the palm of the hand. And then look at the structure of their behavior in their life. It gives you a lot of noise level understanding of the soul. It's exactly radiates out, it's the sun.
So all these things are important to know, because and then we really make it, how you call it, acknowledge, or I don't know, is a truth, because I think somehow we know about these things, but we don't really give the right importance.
Subconsciously we know.
Yeah.
Subconsciously we know all of it, but we decided because it suits us. Have you noticed why very tall people get married to very short people? Have you seen
No.
them? One is half of the size of the other.
Yeah.
Many, I've seen many. There is a survey years ago. I had the copies of it somewhere. It says 85% of the men who are shorter than their wives, they are unfaithful. They've done a survey, and then they always go out usually with a woman which is shorter than them, because they are usually, some of them are in a good position job. Everybody looks up to them, but in front of the wife, they have to look up to the wife physically. And then that brings us some sort of psychological condition that they find another woman who's short. Some of the statistics, because when you work with the soul of the man, have to understand the condition of physicality, what soul has made somebody so short. And then I used to read a lot of researchers like this, and you gather, you understand. I used to read research papers 10, 20 a day, very rapidly, understanding concept behind it. And now one of the best research papers for you, if you want to understand everything, goes to Google and just Google it. Wikipedia is one of your best, because it is 80%, maybe 70% is good, because scientists put things in and the other ones take it out, and then they pay people to take things out. What it suits the controlling system, I call it. And it's very, very interesting how we shape ourselves, how we stand, the way you stand. When somebody has got a fibromyalgia, if you stand up in front of you, you see the shoulders stand up 3 to 5 millimeters ahead of the chest. Position of protection. You know, when somebody hits you in the stomach, you protect. Because they've been abused, they're in that position ready to do, but the shape takes over. And somebody who's an abuser picks them up like nothing. That's why people walk from one failure relationship to another, because you mocked yourself. And when you elevate their souls, they change the wife, they change the husband, because they don't want to stand. The body posture changes. The clothes don't fit anymore, because they're shorter now, because they grow by about 2 centimeters. I asked them, have you changed your clothes recently? Everybody knew, yes, somehow I'm getting taller. But they don't see, it's just the posture we have changed. We allow, and you have to look at the soul of the man, what conditions creates him physically. When you shake hands with people, you can tell everything about it. I shake hands with somebody, I can tell you everything. Even the emotional thinking, what they think, what they want to do, which finger they press.
Where do you learn that?
I brought it with me from where I come. I carry knowledge of universe, darling. But somehow you cannot teach all of it. But then you go and find how humans have done this, that you can go to and says, this is what it is. Because you always need somebody else has done it. We need, do you have a paper, scientific? I said, yeah, go, is there? So not they accept, because somebody has spent their life, for me is what is there that you want to need. When we submitted the first papers to people from Belgium, they came to see, I had 2, 3 tables full of papers stacked on top of each other to prove what I was saying is correct. And the guy read it and says, yes, he's discovered it, let's steal it and kill him. And then they made us everything else with it. because we fitted them the way they wanted to do what they wanted to do. Now there is, it's a very beautiful policy. What you cannot steal, you make a terrorist. Now there is scientists who, their technologies and sciences cannot be bought, they are made. Look at the list of the personal terrorists around the world. 80% of them are scientists or knowledgeable people. It has become a tool of abuse. You see, even there are scientists who they issue warrants for terrorists for them, because that way they can get them and silence them and steal their technology. The forbidden nation is full of it. We release documents for you to see it. How we moved from being a terrorist to scientists, and then they made another one up, which we see be challenging it. We release documents, you will see. The abuse, they want to carry on with abuse, stealing is a course of life for these people. When we release documents, you will see is how kangaroo system sits. They got used to abuse and we allow them. Now somebody stands against them or up for his own right. We are keeping these papers for European Court of Justice. You will be amazed how one of the biggest scientists in the world, we made terrorists and they couldn't get it, they get something else to him. The courts will be surprised. Just because you carry the name of whatever abuser and you work on the system of companies which you set up to steal. We have never spoken about it, but we're getting to the court, you will see. And what the Americans and the Europeans told them, said, get lost, we know what you're doing, it doesn't stick. You have to understand, we allow people to abuse us, but when you stand your position, you are. And then you can read the body language, you can read the motion language. When you shake hand with a man or a woman, you know what they want from you. By the look, you know, and you're 99% first instinct correct. When you stand in public, you see what it is. You feel danger by the emotion of it. And then we have built systems to protect ourselves. This is how we assess ourselves. This is the way we understand ourselves. We hear the noise of the soul. This is a very puzzling for a lot of people, how you know what is going on, because we hear the soul of the man. You don't need to be there. And when you are here to serve, they bring you in. It's just having a self-confidence to know that you are there to change, to bring the change for the better. When it's in your favor, you lost it. Whenever you are somewhere, you are there to change for the others to be better, you always win, because they carry you through. We always look at physicality, we have to look at the emotion of, or actually the motion of the fields of the souls of the others. Why do you think we are in the position we are? We receive so much blessing from so many of you that I don't really care about the physicality, because the souls are there, they just everything else. My job is to bring the condition which I've accepted to do, and then the rest is in your hands. Something falls off the sky, something has to be done, it's done the right time. Not a minute before, not a minute after. I'm here to serve, and I know my soul what it's got to do. It doesn't matter who comes with what money and where it sits, because at the end of the day, there is no money in the universe, and God didn't open a bank, and there are nothing in there. If money is a way to bring peace on this planet, and through it, those who have it, they will service it. Because it means their soul has reached the maturity. That's the time I want to be part of it. Us as human beings have to understand, as it's on this, when you read them, what was there, detachment. I'm detached from everything, but I'm here attached to change what I came here to do. But I had to learn a lot about the man. This creature is an amazing creature. It's a chameleon, even with his own soul. We have to understand the operation of the soul. Then, in the universe, we'll survive according to the strength of our own soul, not depending on the others. Knowing that when it's needed, it'll be there. Now, there's a time and need for peace, and we'll achieve it. You'll be amazed by every possible way. We got to understand why the space technology, we are pushing for space technology this year. Do you know why? I'm not interested to take you into space because you can go with your soul. Because when the space technology is developed, in the way it is getting developed, a lot of your attitude will do it. It means there will be no borders. Anybody can go from America to Canada to South America to Africa, anywhere. And when enough people do it, borders goes. That's our commitment. It's not fighting anyone, it's delivering technology. Read what it says on the Keshe Foundation. Huh? Technology against peace. And the peace comes by delivering technology so rapidly. We do not talk what is happening behind and the way the governments are working with Keshe Foundation, because what's the use doing it? We saw a bunch of mayhem terrorists did what they did. And then the process will come. We continuously embark on creating knowledge, that the knowledge brings peace, and nobody understands how I work. I'm changing things with knowledge. The more knowledgeable we become, now many people are on the verge of flight this year. I don't need to do anything. Remember something I've told you. Those of you who are English will tell you, you go back 20, 25 years ago. About 20 years ago, if you lived in England, on Sunday at 12 o'clock, they used to put chain around. You cannot buy alcohol and you cannot buy cooked meat. It was an order from 200 years ago and it was there. Shops could not be open on Sundays unless you had a special license. Couple of supermarkets, they said they were so huge and they opened, and the penalty was £250. The small shopkeeper can't pay. But a supermarket opening on Sunday was taking £1 million, £2 million. 250 was nothing. They're paying the officer of the court right in front on the Sunday morning. And then so many supermarkets found out that they can earn so much money, the competition is making money. They are not there open on a Sunday and they pay the 250. It got to the point that the government changed the rules. You can open whenever you like. And it's the way we go. We create so much conditions, so much knowledge that pattern does not count anymore. Energy consumption does not matter. Borders become irrelevant, and all these are steps towards a peace. You think I'm a fool to give such a knowledge worth trillions freely? To me has no value if I can't achieve peace. I set up a company which worth billions. For what reason? Because through its strength I can enforce peace. We are right in the right position to enforce peace. Just give me a few more days. Just a few more weeks and days, we achieve everything. And it's done because of you lot. You all have a wish and a soul for peace, and it's elevating the soul of humanity and all of us. And those, you just create a condition, you know, to win a battle you got to disarm a lot of soldiers. You are doing the disarming with the souls you elevate without you knowing. We're just delivering the last, what I call a strength shot to deliver it, and it's completed, because we all believe in one thing, that's peace. Because we are fed up of fighting, even for food, we are fed up of fighting for heat, we are fed up of fighting for energy, we are fighting for, we are seeing so many people to be abused and go hungry to sleep, and we know what it means. So we are changing it, and we are there. They don't care anymore. If I tell you the things I see in the hand of governments, they don't care anymore. FDA is irrelevant in some of the countries who work with us. FDA is setting up standards for us in number of health authorities, regulatories are setting up, this is new, we have to go because it's there. Do you know why? Because their own children, their own wives, their own family, themselves have used it. So it has to be done. This year, when we push for a space technology, and I said we're gonna do, because it's the only way that the borders go. It's like the supermarket, when everybody flies everywhere, wants to use. I said to somebody, I was standing in the queue, in the customs, and I said, do you know something? We are even lower than a dog. He said, what are you talking about? I said, you know, dogs cross borders. Do you see a passport on their tail? We have valued ourselves so much lower than the dog or animals that we have to worship the dog. They don't need the passport. Have you seen any of you, the geese flies from Canada into England? Have you seen anybody standing at the border giving tickets? This is my passport, I want to enter.
Oh, Mr. Keshe, there's a great video of an elephant crossing a border crossing, I think somewhere in India, and all the guards are there with their guns and everything, and this huge elephant just goes stomping through, sort of walks over the gate, goes up the road a couple of miles and comes back again later through the same border crossing, the same gate, goes around the gate and walks straight down the road. And it just made me realize that it was like elephants without borders. They don't have borders. They don't recognize that there's this artificial line that the humans have. The animals don't know about that at all.
We have created ourselves. We have put ourselves lower than the animals, and we call the animals, we are animals. We lost control of our soul. If the world governments realize now we understand the strength of our souls, and I can communicate with anybody which I like, because a lot of you will start doing, a lot of you will start learning to do it. Would there be a censorship because they cannot reach my soul, the strength of my soul, when I talk to you and you feel what I am? Happened today while this teachings and the section was going on. Flint, Vince and Caroline simultaneously put the same thing on the net to each other. I said, it's a strange. That's what it becomes. Now we start communicating, because the purpose was, if you were with Caroline and with Vince and with Rick and with Flint, these guys have not seen much sleep in past week, 2 weeks to get this thing out, because the soul says this peace is more than important than the soul. I hear, I stay in the background and I see them. Caroline gets 2 or 3 hours of sleep all the way 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, Caroline, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, order on the line, we have to work, it's got to be finished. And she hasn't slept for 2 days, 3 days, she's just going. Where the energy comes, because it's the soul. Soul creates that energy. People tell me, why you do so much? How can you have done it? Because the energy is not mine, it's the soul which wants to guarantee the peace. Borders does not matter how long I spend on the flight, what I get is irrelevant. How much I spend in the cars going from place to another is irrelevant. Because the ultimate goal is peace, and ultimate goal is when you have peace, you enter the dimensions which you called heaven. You enter dimensions which you always worshipped and you didn't know what it is, and it's so peaceful. It gives you a family which is waiting for man to enter. It's like, you know, northern, southern Korea, the ones inside, they're aware of the one outside, or the outside one are aware of the inside, but they cannot go. That's exactly the position of man at this moment in the universe. We have, you have encircled yourself as a Berlin in the what do you call it, in the whole continent. Nobody made a wall around you. Your own behavior has done that. And now we decided we change. Is that chip on that concrete wall, if any of you remember 1990s, when the Berlin Wall came down. Few risked to jump on the top and they could push it, they wouldn't shoot them because there were others that didn't want to start a war. Anyhow. Those there, they win. Always has been those who dare to put their souls for peace, provide the peace. Shall we call it a day? I didn't know.
Yes, absolutely. Please,
thank you.
you.
Yes, congratulations to all of you, members of the Universal Council. This thank to your soul. Physicality really doesn't cope sometimes. I thank this team, the core team. I said when the time comes that they're, and we've seen the core team working solid behind the Earth Council and the Universal Council to deliver. And now you understand where the core team comes in. When you need support, I was listening to Caroline, Flint, and Vince, and Rick, and others who were putting this thing through. And I said, don't they stand still to see where the core team works? These guys, they are there with their soul, committed to peace. Other core members do their own things in different ways. But if it wasn't because of the members of the core team, which is Vince and Rick, you wouldn't see this, what do you call it, article so beautifully presented. And then you have beautiful souls who come in shape of our soul of Flint and the others to do it. You look across the world, look at the most of the core team members that are there in solid way working day and night. Because we committed something man does not understand. And when he said the core team is there to guide you when it's needed, you see it. Relentlessly are there to do their job. They are not there to enforce. They just sat there as God, you want this, you want that. And I listened to it and I said, Caroline doesn't see it, how beautifully it works. Without members of the core team, the 14 of them, nothing would have happened the way it's happened up to them. Every single one of them has committed their soul to peace and being the support there.
We are here to serve and not to be served.
This is what we gave our all to. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the Universal Council. Your job has started. Now start what you wrote. You have to act on it. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you again. Fantastic presentation overall, and really happy for everyone for the way it worked out. And also just to mention that Flint was a major influence in pulling all of this together and actually doing the editing of the video and so on that occurred, and many of the other background tasks that go on as well, besides the other people that were mentioned. And of course Caroline was there like a real trooper, and till she practically collapsed, I understand. And
can I have my wife back now?
For about 27 hours, I think, maybe, but I doubt that even.
Thank you very much.
We'll see. Thank you for all the work that you've dedicated your entire life, and all the efforts you make, Mr. Keshe. Thank you so much. Okay, that will wrap it up for the 213th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, March 1st, 2018.
Can we go out with the video, please?
Yes, I was just going to say we're going to play the slideshow again, and I find every time I listen to it, I see more things in it, and it's even more powerful. So we'll end with that video again. Thank you, Flint.
So Rick, so Mr. Keshe earned the 500 today, or more?
We got the piece.
I think
Today we achieved what we came here for. You will understand very soon.
Thank you a lot.
One wheel was missing and the wheel is in position. Mr. David Mann is welcome to Universal Community.
Today a joyful day. It's really. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jalal, for that, and thank you, Flint, for taking it away.
Yes.
No i dotrwaliśmy do końca warsztatu 200.
13.
Także nie wiem, czy ktoś by chciał jakby...
W zasadzie tutaj materiał mówiący mocno o pokoju, tak? Powiedzmy opisujący, tak, co się dzieje, jak to mniej więcej postępuje. W pewien sposób dający nam pewne informacje, jak powinniśmy postępować, tak, w którą stronę się kierować, na co zwracać uwagę. Tam też wcześniej było dosyć ciekawie o mowie ciała, powiedzmy tutaj o dłoniach, tak, zresztą nie tylko o uścisku. No, materiał gęsty w informacje. No mówię tutaj trochę pewnie przestudiowanie go kilka razy, no na pewno da nam wiele informacji jeszcze.
No myślę, że samo przesłuchanie tego materiału jest już procesem elewacji kolektywnie. Także tutaj już wkraczamy chyba na dawanie z duszy, gdzie kolektywnie jakby ten pokój ten pokój na tym świecie już w zasadzie coraz bardziej istnieje i
No jest naszym udziałem.
no właśnie, tak. I tak jak tu było wspomniane, że musimy pamiętać, że nasza dusza nie ma granicy. W zasadzie nie ma granic w stosunku emanacji naszych pól magnetycznych. Także wpływamy na całokształt.
No, dla wszystkich, no tutaj też szczególnie powiedzmy, jeżeli chodzi o tą emocję języka, tak, to tutaj wpływamy powiedzmy na wszystkich, którzy powiedzmy mówią w danym języku, tak, w danej sile, a generalnie i na pozostałych.
Chciałby ktoś jeszcze coś dodać od siebie, skomentować cały warsztat? Może coś mu się przypomniało, może. No jeśli nie, no to będziemy kończyć. Dzisiaj trochę krócej było, bo trochę gęściej mamy w tygodniu te warsztaty teraz. No jeśli nie ma nikogo, także zakończymy dzisiejsze spotkanie. To był warsztat 137 dnia, wtorek dzisiaj mamy, 13 marca 2018 roku. Także dziękuję wszystkim za dzisiejsze spotkanie i zapraszam na kolejne, to będzie czwartek. Także dziękuję wszystkim.
No, dzięki serdeczne.
It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of it. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent His messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose, but by them understanding through those who have become messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who are the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness by giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. Carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the fields, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that their physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand, to be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve, become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.